Gnome discovery gone viral. So last Saturday, my dad decided it was finally time to tackle the infamous backyard renovation project he'd been talking about since the dawn of time. Naturally, this translated to me and my siblings being involuntarily enlisted as his workforce. The plan was simple: clear out the overgrown bushes, maybe plant a few flowers, and generally make the place look less like a jungle and more like something you'd actually want to invite your neighbors over to see. We were all set, armed with shovels and a questionable amount of enthusiasm, when my brother stumbled upon something unusual buried under a particularly stubborn root. What he unearthed was a small, dirt-covered figure that looked suspiciously like a garden gnome. But it wasn't just one. We quickly realized there was a whole cache of them, each with a beard so impressive it could put most hipsters to shame. These weren't your ordinary garden gnomes, each had its own quirky personality. One had a pair of tiny sunglasses, another was adorned with a miniature plaid scarf, and yet another had what looked like a tiny craft beer bottle glued to its hand. We laughed it off, joking that they must have been buried by the previous owner, who was clearly ahead of his time in the trend department. As the day wore on, our backyard slowly transformed into a gnome archaeological dig site. With each gnome we unearthed, the mystery deepened. Why were they buried? Who crafted these little hipster masterpieces? My sister suggested we Google hipster gnomes later, but my dad was too busy enthusiastically arranging them by beard length and category: hipster chic, avant-garde, and lumberjack. The whole thing was turning into a bizarre garden gnome beauty pageant, complete with commentary from my brother, who had decided he was the official judge of Gnome Beard's Got Talent. By the end of the day, we stood back to admire our work. Our yard was now populated by a colony of stylish gnomes, each proudly displayed like an exhibit at a hipster art gallery. My dad, scratching his head in both admiration and envy, sighed and said, "Well, I guess I finally met my match. These gnomes really know how to grow a beard." To which my brother quipped, "Don't worry, Dad. They're just gnoming their way into our hearts." And with that, the backyard renovation project was deemed a wild, albeit unexpectedly hipster, success.